James, we got a lot to talk about. You were just getting into it before I messed up accidentally. First of all, how you doing?
Fantastic, man. Doing great.
Doing great, are you?
Tired of the cold.
Tired
Tired
of
of
the
the
cold?
cold.
Well, we still got another month of that, or two, month and a half.
At least. Probably two, honestly. But cold one today, man. It's windy as shit out here.
Yeah. So what were you talking about? You said the closer we get, what?
The more I'm thinking it might be the Packers' year, my friend.
Don't tell me that.
I'm telling you, they look the most complete right now. Patty's going to be a little hobbled on that turf toe.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get. Let's start with. I'm all out of sorts right now. Let's start with the coaching moves that have been going on so far. I think we've made, since talking about Urban Meyer, there have been three. Is that right? I feel like there was more.
Yeah, no, there was three. Salah, Brandon Staley,
Yeah.
and who was the other job? Dan Campbell, Lions.
Campbell. So then that's four of the jobs. Three. No, there was another because two are open right now. It's Houston and Philly. Who are we missing?
No, I believe there were 6 jobs.
No, there's seven now with Philly open.
Oh, who are we missing? NFC West, NFC North, NFC South.
I gotta look it up. This is bad radio.
No, this is bad. We don't know football, Shane.
NFL coaching. Who am I missing? Coaching vacancies. Let's look this up.
Stanley Sala, Campbell.
Okay. Eagles. Falcons. Arthur Smith. Okay.
Falcons, Arthur Smith. Yep. Damn.
All right. So there were 4 moves made. I'll go ahead and give a quick rundown of what I think. So Arthur Smith, I believe, was first. I would give that probably like a B minus. I thought the Falcons could get a bigger name, but I'm still pretty impressed with Arthur Smith. I mean, he's built Ryan Tannehill back up to be a top 10 quarterback in my opinion. I mean, he's clearly not an idiot. I also heard that his dad is the CEO of FedEx or something. And instead of just being a trust fund baby, he got into coaching. So I think that's a really interesting. It seems like a real salt of the earth type of guy. So I'm okay with it. You know, I don't hate it, but I thought it could have potentially been better. The Jets so far have made the best hire, I think, in Robert Saleh. I mean, that's a bad dude, I think, on defense. He just seems like he could control a locker room easily. Obviously very high on him. What was the other one? I'm trying to think before Staley. What was the other coaching vacancy? Oh, Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, that could be very beneficial, I think, for Detroit. I'm high on special teams coordinators. You know, no affiliation really on either side of the ball.
I just think they need a culture reset.
Yeah.
And I don't think necessarily those guy is that. You know what I mean? I think they need. Dan Campbell looks like he stood up tomorrow.
Oh,
So
dang. I saw a picture of him. I was like, holy shit, we got to play him every year.
Dude,
We got to play him twice a year as a Green Bay fan?
He'll have them ready to play.
Yeah.
I wonder who he can get for coordinators, but I actually think that was a pretty underrated hire.
Yeah, he's worked for some good coaches, Sean Payton being one. I like the move. I like giving these special teams coordinators a shot because they're familiar with bringing together offensive and defensive guys. I think that's just very head coach like. The other one was
people in general that don't understand football. They don't get how absolutely massive special teams.
Yes.
I mean, it is legitimately 1/3 of the game, and people don't think that. You know,
we would my high school. We would treat it, and I've noticed it. You know, I would watch WVU practice and some colleges practice. We spent as much time, my high school, on special teams than these colleges. Like, I'm talking a third of practice was special teams.
it is 1/3. People don't understand, man. Like, if you can make the other team have 85 yards every time, you got a real shot at winning the game. You know what I mean?
Yep. But yeah, I'm just a fan of the special teams coaches. Look at John Harbaugh has been successful. Joe Judge was impressive this year a little bit. They're just guys I think that could command a locker room because they work with both offense and defense. And, you know, I just think it's a really good move. The Chargers' job, I really thought they could get someone better. I'm not down, I'm not trying to hate on Brandon Staley. Clearly, I think he knows what he's doing. Year one with the Rams had them in the top 5 in almost every defensive category. The problem is he felt like a name to me that was more of a next year candidate. He's only been in the NFL 3 years, I think. And he was a position coach before this.
I heard he was coaching at John Carroll
University
in 2016.
Now, I will say this. Like, could he be a rock star? Yes, and just rise quickly? Absolutely. And I think he is. He was at some point going to be a head coach. He just felt like a name that was going to be around next year, maybe, next cycle. But, Chargers giving him a shot. But I'm just not crazy about it. Who knows? Like I said, who knows? He might be a rock star.
I actually like Staley as a head coaching hire. I just don't think the Chargers should have hired him. I'm going to tell you
well, here's the thing. Like, I don't think the Chargers really needed an offensive guy, which is why I'm kind of defending it, because Justin Herbert's, I think, ready right now. He doesn't really need developing.
But I mean, how much better could he be? I mean,
true.
You want Herbert hit his head. You don't want him to go, oh, well, he's pretty good now, so we don't have to worry about him. Like, no, dude, he could eventually, he could turn into an MVP candidate with a great offensive coach. So but in Staley's defense, he's a former QB, which is kind of ironic that he coaches defense. I like that he coaches defense from a quarterback's point of view.
Yeah, I was about to say, that might actually be a really good – that might be really good for him.
Dude, I mean, I was listening to, Middlecoff yesterday. He's like, dude, they hired Staley because there is a lot of upside there, but he knew he could get Brandon Staley for like $5 or $6 million a year instead of having to pay.
The Spanish family is the cheapest family out there, for sure.
Exactly. So that's what it was. So it was a high risk, high reward hire, but I actually think it's going to end up working out. But I'm against the, we got to get somebody young that's in their 30s, and I think that's bullshit, frankly. I think it's
that's
bullshit.
The trend, and it's worked with.
Why? Because it's Sean McVay. Why?
Well, you look at Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. Even I would put Matt LaFleur in that conversation now.
Shanahan is Mike Shanahan's son, so that's not. I'd say that's a little bit different, but. Dude, listen, Sean McVay's a great coach, but why is he the fucking mold of the NFL? He shouldn't be. Why? He's just a good coach. He's a good coach.
Yeah.
So what? All my fucking coaches need to be 35 to 40 years old? No, dude, that's fucking absurd. They cannot lead men, in my opinion. Can't. Dude,
you have a few of them that are, though. I'm not saying all of them, but a few of them are.
I think it's bad business, personally. I don't want somebody in my 30s coaching my football team.
That's fair. No, I think that's fair. 30s, yeah. I would want, someone a little bit older.
Unless it's just somebody that you can't deny. I mean, Sean McVay was that. I'd obviously take Sean McVay as a coach. I think, Shanahan did start coaching young, even though he's in his 40s now. But, I just don't like it, man. Brandon Staley was coaching at – is John Carroll even D1?
I didn't know of it, so I don't know.
Of the Chargers? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. No, I'll pass.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 4 years ago, he was at a very small school, I assume. I don't think John Carroll's D1.
Dude, I see the Eagles fans beating the table for Joe Brady. He's fucking 31 years old, Shane. There is no shot.
Joe Brady, I think, is a really good candidate, but in a year, maybe 2.
Dude, that is just so young, man. I'm sorry. I don't care how.
Look at the offenses he's put together, dude. I mean, he clearly knows the offensive side of the ball.
Dude, that makes you a coordinator, though, Shane. Putting together an offense does not make you.
That's what I mean. Give him 2 to 3 more years as a coordinator. We'll see where it goes. So let's go ahead and recap divisional round. Let's start things off with probably the big news of the weekend, which was Chiefs-Browns. I mean, I quit watching it at halftime. It really felt like the Chiefs were just going to roll in the second half. They were up, I think it was 19 to 10. I muted the game, started reading my book, and I remember reading my book, and then I look up, and Baker Mayfield dropped back to pass early in the second half and threw an interception. I was like, here comes the route. Here it comes. Then it wasn't long after that, I think Butker missed the field goal. Browns go down and score, and then Mahomes gets hurt, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is getting interesting now. Anyway, I did too. When Carl Joseph, WVU's own Carl Joseph, got that interception in the end zone, which was a horrible pass, but I don't really care. Fielded it like a outfielder, but I was hyped. I was like, oh my god, the Browns are going to do this thing. I like honestly, I was getting as a Green Bay fan. The Green Bay game was already over. I was getting ahead of myself. I was seeing flashes of Lombardi, of holding the Lombardi trophy already, with the Chiefs potentially out, and then Chad Henne ruined it for me.
Yeah, Andy Reid ruined it for you.
Yeah, Andy Reid ruined it for me. So the big takeaway from that one is Mahomes is dinged up with a concussion. I'll be honest, this sounds a lot worse than what I originally thought.
I mean, dude, first of all, I don't think it's going to be the concussion that's going to hinder his game because he's going to play. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no shot.
Boy, I don't. From what people have said, it sounds like it's a spinal neck injury that's giving him concussion-like symptoms. That's an injury that sidelined Sidney Crosby in the NHL for like the 18 months, I think. I think he missed a whole season.
I hope that doesn't happen because
I'll be sad on either.
I'm going to tell you right now. All right, so let's hypothetically say that ends up not bothering him and he ends up playing. You saw before he got taken out of that game, he wasn't able to step into his throws that well because of the
it was a lot of dink and dunk. They did have some big plays every now and then, but it was a lot of dink and dunk. And why are you doing speed options with Patrick Mahomes? It doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Dude, I said it when they did it the first time. And Patrick Mahomes.
Well, he's a runner, but he's not that kind of runner.
Dude, you don't fucking have your $400 million quarterback running down the line.
500.
Running into a defensive end, dude. Literally the biggest guy on the field. Like, dude, I thought it was stupid. That was very big mistake by Andy. I bet you they won't call a design Patrick Mahomes run until probably the end of next year. He's going to be so afraid of that.
Well, it definitely ain't happening this year. Maybe in the Super Bowl, but it ain't going to be this week. I'm 50-50 on whether or not he's going to play. I think there's a chance he might not. He was very light today, and it's Wednesday. I mean, I know it's college, but I remember Neil Brown, WVU coach, saying if a dude doesn't practice by Wednesday, usually it's an indicator he's not going to play that week.
Yeah.
He's practicing, but it's very light.
I think in the NFL, it's actually usually Thursday.
Yeah, I would say probably so, too.
Because that's their last padded practice, and then they have walkthroughs Friday.
Yeah.
That's usually how they do it if there's a Sunday game. So, like, tomorrow...
Which would make sense. NFL plays on Sunday. It's a day later, but... Yeah, if Mahomes doesn't play, though, I think the Bills would have to be the favorite to win that game.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And even if Mahomes plays, I don't think it's inconceivable that the Bills win that game.
No, 100%. The Bills could win that game with Patrick Mahomes, especially Hobble. I'm going to tell you right now, they'll win that game by double digits. I don't give a fuck about the other 21 players or Andy Reid.
If Mahomes doesn't play?
Mahomes doesn't play, they'll lose by 10.
It's just going to be very hard. We'll talk about Buffalo, I guess, right now. Good segue here. But Buffalo, I'll be honest, the reason why I'm hesitant toward Buffalo is because they scored 10 points against Baltimore. 10 points. I know 17-3, but 7 of those came off an interception for a touchdown, 100-yard pick six, I should say. 10-3. I have no idea what Brian Daboll, who's interviewing for these head coaching gigs, was doing. They didn't attempt. I don't think they ran the ball at all in the first half when the wind was a major factor. Like, I remember just watching. I'm like, have they run the ball yet? And I keep hearing how bad the wind is. Like, what are you doing? Run the ball. Like, I know they didn't have. I think they were missing their 1 and 2 running backs. I think they had a new guy in there from what I've heard, potentially. But still, feed the dude the rock. Like, you got to be balanced.
Agreed, dude.
So I was a little surprised. You did pick the Ravens, though. I went with our boy Josh Allen.
You did. I regret it.
But Lamar, I mean, he struggled. I think he needs a lot of help.
Listen. I won't put it all on Lamar. They haven't necessarily helped him.
They've had some injuries on the O-line, too, so, you know.
But at the end of the day, man, 3 points.
Yeah.
I love Lamar, so I'm not going to pile on him. I think that they can do a lot more to help him. But at least he gets, Lamar doesn't sit there and go, he knows that he needs to be better at passing. So he'll get better. But they need to go get him a big body, Anquan Bolden, Des Bryant.
I just remember when they brought back Des Bryant. Everyone made that out to be a huge deal. And I was like, the dude hasn't played in 3 years. I mean, it just didn't make a ton of sense. Uh, one thing I want to complain about with the Ravens is we hyped up Greg Roman last year. He might have been, the top assistant coach award winner, whatever award that is in the NFL last year. And then we realized this year, oh, right, he's overrated. He flamed out in San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick once they figured out how to defend it. It's taken a quicker amount of time this time because I think the NFL remembered, oh, right, it's Greg Roman. We know how to defend this guy. Just defend the run. Dare the quarterback to throw the ball.
I agree, man, and that's what they're gonna have to work on. Like that shit works in the regular season, dude. But I'm gonna tell you right now, they'll let you throw for 400 yards in the playoffs. They're gonna stop that run game against the Ravens. So you're gonna have to figure it out. People should be open. Like that. That's what kills me about that. It's like, dude, if they're stacking the box like that, somebody's open, dude. You gotta hit them.
Yeah.
You gotta put it on the numbers, man.
So let's switch to the NFC now. We'll start with the Bucks and Saints game.
Well, hold on. Let me say something before.
Yeah, go ahead.
This might be the best matchup of my life. Like, this is the
Chiefs
ultimate
Bills.
No, Bucks.
Well, no, I want to talk about the Packers last. That's my team.
The ultimate football boner. I just mean the matchup. I didn't even want to talk. I'm just like, dude, Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers this late in their careers is fucking amazing. Like,
It's funny that one side of the bracket are two quarterbacks who I doubt are 25. Either of them are 25. I doubt it.
No.
Josh Allen might be.
No, he's not.
Okay, I didn't think so. But on the other side, you have two quarterbacks who are an average age of 40. So it's just fun. And these are honestly, I think the best four teams in the league.
No, it is.
Right at this second, and it's also for the top. I would argue 6 quarterbacks in the game right now.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the two that are out are Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. I think that's about it.
They're showing you where the NFL is. It's quarterback play and offense. It really is.
Yeah, I heard Big Cat saying it's true. We're to the point now where good offense is beating good defense every single time. We just saw that the last time, arguably. Well, I would say Broncos with that run with Von Miller, but we just saw that with the Packers-Rams game. Best defense, best offense.
But the difference, like, listen, in all-time defense is different. Like,
True.
Denver that's a top probably 7 or 8 defense of all time. That's different. I'm not talking about the
True.
Colts this year. You know what I mean? That's a good defense. That's not an all-time great defense. That's a little different. I still think that a Denver-type defense could still do that in today's NFL, but teams don't build that anymore. They're not trying to build 3 levels of the defense anymore. They're trying to build inside out on the offense, quarterback, offensive line, then you build out to your tight ends and wide receivers and running backs. And that's what's working now.
So anyway, back to Bucks Saints. Drew Brees is done, right? Yeah. Phillip Rivers retired today. We should have talked about that too. Not surprising. But Drew Brees, he made it out to be, I'm going to think about it. Even though there's allegedly a video of him on the sideline telling Jameis Winston that this is your team now, which I don't think it is. But the way he looked, out on the field after the game, the look in his eyes, even when they were down, a field goal or 7 or 10 points, the look in his eyes looked like he was about to cry already on the sideline with time still on the clock.
I'm going to tell you right now, a hot take. I think he's done from my perspective. I think he comes back a year. Whether it's with the Saints or not, I don't know.
That's the thing, though. I think the Saints are moving on. They signed him to I don't think he's on under a 1-year deal.
No,
but,
he's not. But I do think he's going to try to play 1 more year if there's any suitors.
Who's going to pick him up? I don't
know.
see anyone picking him up.
It's a good question, but I don't know.
Like maybe you bring him in to be a backup for some young quarterback, I guess. But
Patriots maybe.
Hey, maybe he finishes his career with the Chargers and helps groom Justin Herbert. But
or you know who I bet would take Drew Brees even though he can't because of golf is the fucking Rams.
We need to talk about that. But
yeah.
Bucks Saints. I walked away from that game, James, and I thought, and I texted you this. I thought this was setting up for another best possible scenario for the Packers. I walked away from that game. I wasn't really impressed with either team.
Watch it.
Dude.
Nah, Shane, don't get caught
the
up
Saints
in the
scored,
brother.
I know, but Saints scored 20. 13 was with Breeze. They finally figured out just to press the receivers, and he can't throw the ball. So really, the Saints scored 13. The Bucks, outside of 4 turnovers, scored 9 points. 3 field goals off.
Well, in their defense, I mean, the Saints have like a top 3 or 4 defense.
Yeah, I know, but still, 9 points. And I'll say this: Brady looked physically capable, but look at the box score. He did not have a very good game.
Yep.
Like there was nothing about that game that was like, oh, we'll be fine with him and Lambeau. No, I was like, he'll do fine in Lambeau. Breeze, I was like, oh God, please give us Breeze and Lambeau. But Brady, I was like, no, that's gonna be a problem. But the box score, like I said, at the box score, he did not have a very good game. His completion percentage wasn't very good. Yards per attempt wasn't very good. I don't know what the issue is. Or I shouldn't say I don't know what the issue is. But I will say their offensive line looked a lot better against a pretty good Saints defensive front. They ran the ball well. We're in for an interesting one. I keep talking myself out of it.
If the Packers win, they deserve it because they're going to have to beat TB and my boy Patty 2 weeks straight. So, or two
like
straight.
I told you, I guess we can talk about the Packers now. Like I told you, facing the Rams, McVay, LaFleur, master versus apprentice. Then you move on to the NFC Championship. Avenge your worst loss of the season against, as many people would say, the GOAT of football. I don't call him that because I think Aaron Rodgers is, but that's another argument. But against the GOAT of football, then if you win that, you potentially play the Chiefs, the defending champs in the Super Bowl, a chance to take them down. I was like, that's too good of a story to not happen.
I stopped listening after you said Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT. So
I don't give a shit. Whatever.
I am disappointed in you for saying that.
If you've noticed, James, I've never actually said I thought Brady was the best of all time. Those words have not left my mouth ever.
And that's a shame. That's a shame.
Look, I've always said his numbers in the postseason aren't as great as what everyone thinks they are. He's been carried a lot of the time by a really good defense.
That is horseshit.
Dude, look at how many times he has been held under 20 points in the postseason, especially early in his career.
Horseshit.
I'll send it to you.
Aaron Rodgers is 1-4 in NFC Championship games.
Yeah.
1-4.
All of them away from home.
So that's a bad thing that Tom Brady gets a 1 seed every year?
No, I didn't say it was a bad thing.
We need to have a whole show on this. I'm telling
He's
you right
1-4. Yes,
When I saw these playoff stats this past weekend, 32 playoff wins. Joe Montana is second with 16. And that is with a first-round bye basically every year. He probably would have like 50 fucking wins. Like, bro, it's just not even close. I get it, dude. Aaron Rodgers is 50 times more talented than Tom Brady. That's not even a question. Aaron Rodgers is the best, probably the most talented football player I've ever watched. Outside of maybe like Calvin Johnson or something like that. But like, dude, greatness isn't talent. It's just not. We don't have to get into this. My bad.
No,
greatness isn't talent.
I shouldn't have even mentioned it because I knew it was going to lead to this. Anyway, Packers-Rams game. I'll go ahead and talk about this. There was
exactly what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, I said on the show, I gave the Rams defense a little bit more credit. I said that they'd keep Green Bay's offense in check. I thought Jared Goff would stink, though, and he actually played somewhat well. But that was a very dominant performance by Green Bay's offense against a very good Rams defense. I mean, I never really thought they had the best defense in the league.
No,
but I look at their numbers, and like their worst ranking in the league was, I think, red zone defense at 12th. I mean, that's still pretty damn good. That was their worst one. They were top 10 or 11 in everything, just about every other category. So clearly very good. That's a very good secondary. And Green Bay beat them just easily. I mean, the two stops they had, one, Green Bay stopped itself. They had drops and bad throw by Rodgers to MVS, which could have been they had about 3 plays which could have been touchdowns. Then the other, I'll give them credit, good defense, whatever. But it was after that moment, my friend started texting me, Rams have figured it out. They figured something out. And I'm like, no, they haven't. No, they haven't. The previous drive, this game would be over if someone could catch the ball, or Rodgers made a good throw, or pass interference should have been called on Marquez Valdez-Scantling. or the guy who was covering him, I forget who, but I thought it was PI anyway. But I was like, if any of those things happen, go our way, this game is over. Like, it's over. And so Green Bay played very well, but left points on the scoreboard, or I'm sorry, left points on the field. Defense was mad, but I looked at the box score, I was like, man, that was actually a pretty good performance. Special teams was awful, and they still won by 2 scores. I thought it was going to be a 13-point game. I picked 23-10, and it was 14. It was about what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's impressive. What do you think?
It ended up being so. I texted you before the game because we were both adamant on the the pod that it wasn't going to be close. I just didn't see it.
You thought the Rams were going to cover.
No, but I was coming back, and then as I was listening to everybody talk on the media and everything like that, I need to not listen to them because a lot of them are. I don't want to say they don't know what they're talking about because they clearly do. They're on TV, but I think a lot of them just say things to get kind of attention.
Yeah.
But. And so
I think they tried way too hard to hype up the Rams.
They did, and dude, the more because remember what I said, I was like, dude, am I missing something? Is there like a reason that some people are saying this game's going to be close, and I think it's going to be an absolute blowout? I texted you that before the game, and then
I'll be honest, dude, Jalen Ramsey. I don't want to say he ran his mouth, but he asked for it. It was like Sean Wade with Devontae Smith. You asked for it, and you were embarrassed. I shouldn't say embarrassed, but. He didn't play very well. And, like, I look at the rest of these teams, James, who's going to cover Devontae Adams? I don't really think any of these teams can cover him. If Jalen Ramsey can't do it, who's the best corner for Tampa?
You
Carlton Davis, maybe?
Yeah, dude, you can't cover Tay Adams anyway. It doesn't matter.
I don't think the Chiefs can. Like, I think Tyrann Mathieu could.
No.
But that's not his game. He's a slot corner. He's a nickelback. He's not an outside corner.
They're going to have to scheme coverage to Tay Adams. They're going to have to put their best corner on him, and then
Chicago even tried to double him. He still had like 10 catches for maybe not 10 catches, but like 5 catches for 50 yards. I mean, just crazy. So let's go ahead and give quick previews of AFC and NFC championships. Let's start in the AFC. Chiefs, Bills. Like we already kind of said it. I kind of like the Bills. But I'm not sold right now. I mean, they scored 10 points previous week. I know the wind was a factor. You know, weather wasn't great. But this is going to be hard to go into Arrowhead and get the win.
Sorry, 1 second. My apologies. Sorry, I had a very important email there. But I'm not. I told you how I felt about the Chiefs all year. Now. Patrick Mahomes' injury does scare me, but I don't see any way he doesn't play. And ultimately, I think if the Chiefs came out or the Bills came out last week and hung like 24-30 on the Ravens, I'd feel really, really good about it. Now don't get me wrong, the Ravens have a fantastic defense. It was cold, blah 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 blah, but
But the Bills the last 2 weeks have not been overly impressive.
Exactly.
They struggled a little bit with Indy. I know they scored, I think 31 points offensively, but they let Phillip Rivers go up and down the field sometimes. Then this week they scored really just 10 points. Now you're playing the Chiefs. It's going to be really hard, and I think they can do it, obviously. Going into Arrowhead, though, is never easy. That's one of the hardest places to play. A hobbled Patrick Mahomes could change everything. Yep. I'm not expecting him to be 100%, even if he does play. And that if I'm a Chiefs fan, that ought to worry me a lot, even if he does play. Might even worry me more if he does play, because he could get worse.
No, I agreed.
Who are you leaning right now? Chiefs, I would assume.
Chiefs.
Yeah, I'll lean Chiefs as well. I don't want to.
That could change as more Patty Mahomes news.
Yeah, we'll do official picks tomorrow, and we'll get word on what's going on with Patrick Mahomes. We'll wait off till that. I'm going to lean Chiefs, but I probably could easily flip to the Bills. NFC Championship game. Rodgers, Brady, Tampa, Green Bay. Who are you leaning?
It will be close. I do have to go Packers, though.
So I'm trying so hard not to get ahead of myself. But I look at this team, and I look at the 3 other teams. I don't really think anyone's playing better than Green Bay right now.
That's my point. So,
And I'm not the only one. I don't like people hyping them up all week, but everyone has said the same thing. Like, Tampa Bay's playing well. Green Bay's playing really well.
Yeah.
It feels similar to 2010. It really does. I mean, I'm to the point where I'm like, who's gonna stop this team?
Yeah.
It could be the Chiefs. It could be the Bills. Very well could be Tampa. But I'm like, I remember going into the NFC Championship game against Chicago. I'm like, we could lose this game, but I was like, we're fucking hot right now.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm leaning Green Bay as well. I'm getting a little bit more confident as it goes on because I've already seen players tweet out like the eye emoji because they were excited to play Tampa. Christian Kirksey's been active. Marquez Valdez-Scantling's been active. A few other players have said, like, I think they have this game circled. I really do because Tampa Bay embarrassed them back in Week 6. And I don't think the 38-10 game, and I think the media has kind of realized that 38-10 game, like, throw it out. It's not indicative of really either team, but I think more Green Bay.
Agreed.
I don't think Tampa Bay, matches up that well with Green Bay. You know what I mean? Could be wrong. I don't see it happening for either team. I don't see a blowout here.
I agree with you.
It could be end up being a 2-possession game. Maybe Green Bay or Tampa scores late to put it away or something like that. But I'm leaning Green Bay. We'll see. I mean, I'm trying so hard not to get ahead of myself.
Got to. I know.
Did you get ahead of yourself when the Eagles played the Vikings?
If you remember, was stupid nervous to play the stupid nervous to play the Falcons.
I think you might have picked the Eagles. I know I picked the Falcons that game.
I don't remember. Super nervous to play the Vikings again the next week because I knew how bad they wanted to have that home Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think you might have picked the Vikings. I'm not sure.
But after that Vikings game, I came on this fucking show and I said the Eagles are winning the Super Bowl.
You might have picked the Vikings, or maybe you picked the Eagles, but like just barely. You didn't want to do it. And I didn't even. I thought the Vikings were probably going to win that game down deep, but I was like, I can't have the Vikings in the Super Bowl. I'm going to go Eagles, and then the Eagles dominated.
No, and yeah, it just, dude, the Falcons game was 16-10, so like that was, they barely pulled that out. They literally got a miracle play at the end.
And that's what I mean with this Green Bay thing. Coming off a bye, I did not want to play Tampa. I was like, that worries me. Then it was the Rams. I was like, okay, I feel better about the Rams.
Tune-up game.
Exactly. And Green Bay it played well, but that game could have been a lot worse. It could have been easily 41-8 or 17. They probably wouldn't have gone for 2. But I forget where I was going with that shit. But yeah, it was a tune-up game, and I think a full week of preparation and extra time to prepare. They're going to, I think, hit on stuff that, they missed, and they're going to be more prepared. Factor in the revenge, the weather. I think it's leading up for Green Bay. I really do. And Aaron Rodgers said it on the podcast. He said this feels like things are aligning our way. Mm-hmm. Or he said it on Pat McAfee, I should say. He said this feels like the stars are aligning. Mm-hmm. Please, so. God. I'm so due for this moment, James. I think at least.
The question is, let's say the Packers win the Super Bowl, right? Is that the best first 2 years of a coach of all time? NFC champion, 13-3, NFC championship, 13-3.
I would have to see. I'm not sure how it's not. I mean,
it has to be.
Even Belichick with the Patriots won the Super Bowl, I believe, in his first year, maybe his second year. Mm-hmm. So we'll count though the Super Bowl year as his first year. I think he won it in his second year.
Yeah.
But Super Bowl year, we'll count that as his first year. But then his third year, the following year, they didn't make the playoffs. I think they were 9-7 and missed the playoffs. So you follow an NFC championship, got demolished in the NFC championship, didn't really get better necessarily in the offseason. You follow it up with 13-3 and another NFC home field advantage, NFC championship appearance again, chance to win the Super Bowl now. I don't see how it's not. I'd have to go back and check, throughout the annals of the NFL, but I don't see how it's not. And if Green Bay wins this game, I feel pretty good about an AFC, whoever we meet out of the AFC.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, my man. I'll let you go. We'll do official picks tomorrow. We'll give it Mahomes some time to rest
We
up.
need scores too, so make sure you have a score. For
I
the
usually
game.
have scores. I usually do scores.
All right, brother. I'll see you in a little bit.
All right, later.